Hello, hello! If you would like to join me for a little chit chat about Spek leather samples and colors, then stay tuned. Hey y'all, so I thought I would do a little video on here where I talk about the different types of leather that Spek or VDS offers, and I have sort of a variety of different leathers. This is by no means all of the colors that they offer. This is just a handful of the ones that I have ordered over the past. I also have, as you have seen in my ostrich video, I have a fairly extensive collection of ostrich leather, which if y'all know me and you follow my channel, you know that ostrich is my favorite leather. And I have both the real ostrich and I do also have the printed ostrich. You can refer back to that ostrich comparison video to take a look at those. But since I did that video, I thought, you know what? Why don't I go ahead and do one on the other samples that I have so that people can get a rough idea of color variation and what Spek offers. So let's get right into it. So let's talk about the couple of crocos, the few crocos that I have. So what I'm gonna preface this with is you don't see very many croco samples here, and that's because as a rule, I'm not a huge croco fan, and it's not a Spek thing. It's an across-the-board thing. I've had a number of them, and I've sold them as far as having covers. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the texture or what have you, but I just personally can't seem to love croco. So, you know, I think they're pretty and everything, but they're just not for me. And you know, that's okay. I think it's great for those that absolutely love it. Not everybody likes ostrich. So, you know, it's the beautiful part about having a option out there for what it is that we enjoy and like. So this particular one is Tortura croco, and I have to apologize. I am a little shaky. My Graves is kind of acting up today, and so yeah, you will notice now and again my hands are a bit shaky. But so this is the Tortura croco, and it does kind of have a shiny finish to it. Let me see if you can hear this. It's pretty hard and does, in my opinion, feel a little bit plasticky. Okay, and so when I use the term plasticky, what I mean is it's coated enough that, you know, if you drop water on, it's just gonna bead right off and wipe it off, and it's not gonna absorb. That's kind of more of what I talk about. I'm not gonna say it's like, you know, massively stiff, but even the sample itself you can kind of see, and I don't have calipers to measure thicknesses, sorry y'all, but you can kind of see it's, you know, it's a bit on the stiff side. So it is sort of between, it's in that sort of like brown, grayish, you know, grayish type of color. So that's the Tortura croco. So then there are these two, and both of these are their velvet mats, and this one here is the Velvet Stardust, and then this one is the Sakura. And so they are both very pretty, and honestly at one point I had actually considered this because I like the color, but then in the long run, I knew that the Croco just isn't for me, and I know I would end up selling it and it would just be a waste of time. So here you go. Those are the Sakura and the Stardust. Okay, so let's talk about TM leathers. So the TM leathers, or Touch Me leathers, these are a very durable kind of, I believe it's buffalo leather, and you know, they're on the thicker side, the samples themselves. So you can see, maybe, there we go. The samples themselves are a little bit on the thicker side. This edge is definitely a lot more nappy than some of the other ones are, but they are crazy flexible, okay? And they're sort of coated. Let's pick a different color so that the light reflects better. Actually, let's go even darker. There we go. So you can kind of see it's not as much of that plasticky feel, but this is definitely not like your standard leather feel. There is sort of like a coating on here. I will tell you, these covers are practically bomb-proof. Yes, you can get ink on them and ruin them with ink, but for the most part, like if you get water on them, it's gonna bead right off and you can just wipe it off and you're totally fine. So I really enjoy the TM line when I'm looking for a super durable leather that I'm not worried about ruining. So let's just go ahead and take a look at these. So this one is the Bordeaux. So it's sort of that, it's not red. It's definitely coming off a smidge more red. It's a bit darker in true light versus on the camera here. Let me see if I can get, there we go. That's a little bit better lighting for that one. Okay, so that one's Bordeaux. And then this one is the turquoise. And my camera wants to keep trying to get out of focus there. And then this one is Bianca, or I just call it white because it's white. And you know what? This isn't even a TM. What am I talking about? And neither is the turquoise. Sorry guys, those ones aren't TM lines. What am I thinking? Hang on, I think I might, no, these are all TM, but I don't think, well, no, maybe the Bianca, no, it's not. This one is though. The turquoise is, okay, sorry. Okay, so the turquoise is, and that was the Bordeaux. So this is the Parm. And then this is Pearl. This is, yes, Poissé, I don't know how you say it. It's sort of like a tan color. You can see there. Then this is the Rose. So we've had a lot of questions about the difference between the Rose and the Parm. So there's the Parm and there's the Rose. So you can see the Rose, which is over here, is definitely a lot lighter. More pinky pink tones in the Parm, and just like, I mean, we're just talking like a hue of pink here in the Rose. Barely any, but there is some, okay? Then Anthracite, and you know, that's sort of like that deep gray. And then what is this one? I'm trying to think. Bois de Rose or Bois de Rose, I don't know. There, that's what it's called. So it's sort of a pinky peachy color. And that one is that, I mean, that's like extremely textured there. That's crazy. And then this was the old lilac. So yeah, sorry, this Bianca is just the regular line, and I got that mixed up for some reason. This really feels, she didn't write TM on here, but it's pretty nappy. There's a remote possibility that this one is not a TM, but it really feels like it, and it kind of looks like it to me too. So, they look similar, but this one might be the regular leather turquoise and not the TM one, but there is a TM line in this turquoise, but I'm not 100% sure on this one. Okay. So sorry about my scatterbrainness there. So then I have some of the just like basic leathers. I don't know, I have the numbers for these, but I don't have, excuse me, I don't have all the names. So this one is the 6208, and it is this, it's a really pretty brown. Now this one feels like a Napa, and it does not really look like it's super coated. If you kind of look at it, it looks a bit more of a raw leather, but it's pretty thin. So it's definitely not like a thick Janet leather. And when I say raw, I just mean like it's not, it doesn't have this like big coating on it. And then this is the Velato. I'm not sure if this one is still available. It's possible, but this one again is similar, and it's sort of an untreated leather there. This one is the 6202, and it's a really nice kind of chocolatey brown. And again, I mean, this one doesn't feel like it's finished as far as having like a coating on it. So it's like super soft, but she does have them listed on there and lets you know which ones are and which ones aren't. Then there's these two, which I did get mixed up thinking that these might be TM leathers because they do seem to have a coating on them. And so this one's the Bianco, which is like a white. And this one is 6218, and actually I have made a planner in a JL brown and this, and it was absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And this wore really nicely, and it does have, you can see it's a bit shinier. It does have a coating, and you can really feel the difference with the ones that are coated versus the ones that aren't. Okay. Then the ones that are really coated, move these aside. Okay, so this one is the Turquoise, which is really, now that I see this, making me think that that turquoise was a TM, because look at the difference. So, okay, so this one is definitely, and I'll put that actually back there again just so you can see. So this one is, the turquoise is more on that blue spectrum, whereas the turquoise, I don't know how to say it, is definitely on that more green, minty, Tiffany kind of color green. It's not the Tiffany color, it's definitely brighter than that, but it's more along that lines. Okay, and then this one is the Viola, and again, this one does feel like it's coated, and you can see how it's a little more shiny. And then Acacia, and I have this one on the inside of one of my planners as well. Love it. It's sort of that between brown and gray color. I just love that. Okay, and then these buggers are like super coated. So look how shiny they are. And there's a multitude of colors in this line, but these are the only ones I have because I'm gonna be 100% honest. I don't like them. I don't like that super shiny plasticky feel. I just, not for me, but I got some of the samples anyway. So this one says 15, and so it's definitely very purple, which is pretty. And then number 8, and that's a very sort of tan color there. And then 184, I had considered this one at one point until I got the sample and I saw how shiny it was, and I was like, ew, I don't like that. And listen, and it's, I mean, you know, it moves around, but it's definitely, it's just not as supple as some of the other leathers. And then this one is a black, and it's a, is it a black? No, this is a brown. It looks black, but it's not. You can see, if I can get I don't know if any of these, they don't do pull up at all, but I thought maybe I could kind of trick it into showing some of the color. You can see it's definitely a brown. When I squeeze it like that, you can see the brown undertones. So it's a super deep, deep chocolate. And then finally, kind of a saddle-y brown kind of color, 05. It's sort of in that like brownish, reddish type color there. It's pretty. And I mean, if this is, you know, if this super shiny leather is something for you, then I mean, you know, maybe those will be great. And then last but not least, for these leather samples are JL Brown, JL Browns, no, Janet Leathers. And I only have 5 different samples. I'm not really super big into greens, so this is all that I have. So this one here is the 109, and I don't know if she calls it JL Red. I'm not really sure. Most of these are pretty textured, so they're not super smooth. So one thing, I actually had spoken with somebody recently, and I did just want to mention. So the JL leathers, the Janet leathers, they're a little bit thicker, as you can kind of see in general, in comparison to, say, one of these. So, you know, you can just kind of see, you know, there's definitely a big difference there. They do have a tendency when you first get them to be kind of on the dry side. So I have, you know, conditioned mine, not these, but ones that I've had in the past. And I have sealed them, and with use they definitely get shinier, but they do, in my opinion, have a tendency, at least the colored ones, have a bit of a tendency to be a little bit on the dry side. But that does kind of go away the more you use it, like as it patinas. So I just kind of wanted to mention that because it's something that, you know, was brought up recently. So there is the red. And then this one is the 106, and it's sort of like the, I don't know if she calls it gold or like yellow gold or what, but it's definitely like a yellow gold. This one is the dark brown. And it's pretty. And then the black. And again, you know, you might get some variation in color. It does take the dye a little bit differently as well. So sometimes it can maybe look a little bit grayish in spots depending on the hide. But there's the black. And then finally the Janet Leather undyed, which, as you can see, I've been kind of playing with this one a little bit because I was trying to make a decision on something that Petra is actually doing for me. And I was just trying to decide what I wanted to do. Now, I will say this particular sample, compared to the others, is very smooth. And so it makes a difference looking at them. Here we go. When one is textured, let me find one that's more textured. There we go. When one is more textured and then the other is like super smooth. I mean, you can just see the difference in the JL, you know, so that you really could kind of decide what you wanted to do, if you really just wanted something super textured or if you would prefer to have one that is smooth. Generally, I mean, you know, you can ask. I think they do their best. Sometimes, depending on how much is being made from what hide, you know, if there's too many requesting one thing or the other, they can't accommodate. But anywho, that's the difference between the two there. So those are the colors that I have. And if you guys have any questions, definitely feel free to ask. Like and subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye!